Photo and then a photo with their groups that are here. So first up we have Tanya Williams, Library, 30 years. Congratulations. You're staying. Here comes your reluctant staff people. Come on. It's their day off. It's okay. It's okay. Our next 30-year attendee, Thomas Ouellette, Emergency Medical Services. Congratulations. Commissioners, that brings us to item 4, proclamations. Item 4A is a proclamation designating November 14th, 2025 as Diabetes Awareness Day in Collier County, to be accepted by Tammy Balvich, President and Founder, Help a Diabetic Child. Congratulations.
They're kind of reluctant
Come
to
on
come
up
up.
here. Nobody leaving me by myself.
We don't fight.
Hang on, Commissioner McDaniel's not ready.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hello. Thank you, County Commissioners and everyone here, for proclaiming November 14th as Diabetes Awareness Day in Collier County. Help a Diabetic Child is grateful to receive this proclamation in honor of Mr. John Comet as our diabetes champion. Help a Diabetic Child covers the cost of insulin, diabetes medical supplies, and services for the underserved, uninsured, and low-income children and young adults in Collier County, and now we are statewide. Mr. John Comet has dedicated his time, talent, and resources to those who live with diabetes and need insulin to live. And for that, we are all extremely thankful and grateful, because without insulin, you cannot survive, you cannot live. So that is life support. Again, we are very grateful and thankful and honored to be here today. Thank you.
Thank you for what you do.
Thank you.
Commissioners, if we could get a motion to accept the proclamation.
All right. We have a motion. We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion second to approve the proclamation. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Commissioner McDaniel, are you able to hear us?
Aye.
Okay. Passes unanimously.
Commissioners, before we move along, let us turn our attention to the back of the room for the Artist of the Month. The November exhibit of the month honoring Collier County's veterans was created by Collier County Museums as a tribute to those men and women from our region who have selflessly served our nation's armed forces in all manner of capacities across all branches of our military and through over a century of time. While in this small space, we can only name a fraction of the contributions made by Collier County residents. In doing so, we gratefully acknowledge the crucial role all our veterans have played in shaping our great nation. With that brings us to item 7, public comments.
Good morning, County Manager. Mr. Chairman, we have 4 registered speakers for this item. Your first speaker is William Mayers, and he'll be followed by Keisha Morisma.
William Mayers. Thanks, Commissioners, for your time. I'm here today to address commercial parking in a residential district. An amendment was included on the July 8th docket, specifically addressing Golden Gate Estates. At this time, Golden Gate Estates, which is 172 square miles, is excluded from this zoning regulation that sets limits on partial parking in commercial residential district. What that means, if one owns a house in estates, at any time, 5, 10, maybe 15 or more commercial vehicles can park on the property adjacent to yours. The trucks fire up at 4:30 a.m., lights on, diesel engines knocking, loud noises from moving equipment, dust, and especially the 120 decibel backup alarms with no restrictions. I know this for a fact, as we retired and purchased our house in 2000 next to Pine Ridge and 951. In December 2023, a commercial landscape company and 2 other businesses purchased a facade house and moved in next to our property, parking approximately 5 to 15 assortments of heavy equipment. So without a parking restriction code, this is what one can expect while living at Golden Gate Estates at any time. This is a typical picture. And this is all perfectly legal at this time. After numerous meetings with Collier County officials, these are some received responses. Our hands are tied due to the state. We'll get back to you with an update. Don't worry, we'll take care of your neighbor. You're upset because it's next to you. Move to an HOA or a gated community. Since this proposed amendment was abruptly pulled July 8th without due process, and that's what I want to reiterate, without due process, we've lost hope in protecting our deserved peace and quiet, and especially keeping our property value up and protect our neighborhood safety. Until one experiences this commercial activity, I would say responses are of a minimal value to me and my neighbors. In conclusion, we must now cede our residential rights to a commercial business in estates. This falls outside any reasonable person's comprehension. Welcome to the new commercial district, Golden Gate Estates. This is further solidified by the adoption of the home-based business, which includes a grandfather clause, the only county adjacent to ours that has a grandfather clause. And for you two watching out there, you were successful in getting this proposed amendment pulled without due process. Thank you.
Your next speaker is Keisha Morisma, and she'll be followed by Don Braswell.
Good morning.
Good morning. Happy Monday, everyone. My name is Keisha Morisma. I am the founder of Home Sweet Home Companions. We're a companionship agency where our mission is to combat isolation and loneliness among seniors through companionship and meaningful activities. Social isolation and loneliness are not just emotional struggles. They are critical public health issues, especially among older adults. Chronic loneliness is linked to 50% increase of dementia, as well as higher rates of heart disease, strokes, type 2 diabetes, depression, anxiety, and earlier deaths. Loneliness is comparable to smoking 15 cigarettes a day. At Home Sweet Home Companions, we believe that community, compassion, and engagement are the most powerful forms of care. Meaningful connections, whether through shared conversations, creative expressions, or just laughter, has the power to transform lives and bring a renewed sense of belonging and purpose. On Sunday, December 7th, we'll be hosting our Senior Picture Day and Resource Fair at the Naples Botanical Gardens from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. This special community event celebrates our seniors through beautiful portraits while also providing valuable resources to seniors and their caregivers, everything from health, housing, food assistance to wellness support. We're inviting the community, residents, local businesses, organizations to join us as sponsors, volunteers, and attendees to make this day a success. So come in your Sunday's best, bring your loved ones, your parents, your grandparents, your friendly elderly neighbor to enjoy this day. Again, it's on December 7th at the Naples Botanical Gardens from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. For more information, please visit our website, HSH Companions with an S, to RSVP. We'd love for the community to join us. And before I go, I will leave you with this. Call that senior in your life today. Let them know they are seen. Let them know they are loved. And let them know they are not forgotten. My name is Keisha Marisma, founder of Home Sweet Home Companions. Thank you so much for your time and support.
Thank you.
Your next speaker is Don Braswell. He'll be followed by Daniel Zagaric.
Good morning, gentlemen. I'm here to ruffle feathers a little bit, but you're all my friends. I'd have a beer with any of you, including Bill, who decided he didn't want to see me today. But here's the point. At a late stage in my life, I decided I was going to go back to work. I've been in the auto business way more years than some of you have been alive. And I found a job where I could do things in the automotive business, helping our people here in the county. That being said, what I found is I'm working to get people satisfied with their vehicle, that kind of thing, I'm noticing that, wow, there's a lot of F-150s that belong to the county here. Some of which I see no purpose of why we have $55,000 vehicles, 4 doors, being used for checking a code violation. Why do I say that? I'm not against Fords, guys. I'm from Detroit. Half of my relatives are Ford employees. What I do think about, though, is there's cheaper ways to get some of these things done. That's called, in your world, capital investment and capital maintenance when you do a budget. The maintenance on an F-150, fantastic vehicle, but is more than, say, a Ford Ranger. And the dead cost on it is one's $55,000, the other one's $35,000. Or if you're just trying to go down the road and check on somebody's complaint, you could probably do that with a Ford Maverick. That's what I drive. It's got 4 doors, gets me everything I need, and it's a more affordable solution. So, what am I asking, gentlemen? There's 2 things to think about. Sure, you're going to think about the overall cost, but when you put in an employee into a vehicle, what is his job description? And does it require something that hauls 15 to 20,000 pounds? You get the point. Think about it. If you got a question or you want to talk about it more, I gave you my business card. Thanks.
Thank you.
Your final speaker under public comment is Daniel Zagaric.
Good morning, commissioners, staff, and audience. Today is especially meaningful to me as my father served in the invasion of Iwo Jima and also spent time on Okinawa. So that's how I was raised, to remember that and always remember that. Today's the Marine Corps' anniversary, 250 years. Thanks to the earlier speakers for the important topics that they spoke about this morning, and getting up and having the courage to say something to our leaders here. My recommendation for now is for our commissioner leaders to look at our $700 million debt and maybe have a special meeting inviting the public when you look into that $700 million and talk about it, discuss it, become familiar with bonds and bond councils, and what $700 million, if you pay it over 30 years, if you're lucky enough to get it to stop, I don't think that's going to happen, but it's double that. It's like buying a home. So the banks love us, the investors love us, the bond councils love us. They're all making money. They're all making money above the minimums, a couple notches above the minimums, and they like it because they know that we will pay them back. There's 400,000 residents in Collier County that we have to pay our bills for. But when you get it, and not to embarrass anybody, that's not what my statement's all about, but just to get together and communicate, have a meeting, a workshop, talk about that debt, review that debt, what happened, when it happened, why it happened. Just, do the best you can, and that's all I can hope for. Thank you.
Thank you.
And that was our final speaker under public comment.
Ms. Patterson, a couple things struck me during the public comment. One, the misdemeanors and the parking issue. We've been dealing with that for quite some time, and I don't know why we're not able to grapple with that and do something about it. Could you, in a future meeting, or in a future meeting with me at least, kind of go over what our options might be?
Yes, sir.
Because that's something we've been talking about for a long time. And then on the debt issue that was just raised, I'm not sure what our debt is, but we got the public now looking at a $700 million debt and wondering why we have that. Can you have a kind of a brief explanation as to what our debt is and why we have that? Is that something that you could?
Yeah, I can tell you why we have it. I can't actually tell you what the exact number is. Maybe Ed chime in, but we do have debt for various large capital projects that we've done over the years. We've done a good job at refinancing that debt at times when it's in our favor. So that amount of debt that we have has steadily declined. But for new debt, of course, we took debt a few years ago for a few things, for stormwater management, for some aquatics facilities, and a couple of other things. It's a way that we're able to get after capital projects rather than the traditional cash and carry. It does take time.
Thank you.
For
Hey, thank you so much. Bye-bye. You too.
So are we in a situation where our debt exceeds what is reasonable or financially
No,
sound?
sir. We have our debt is well below what we're authorized as a county, what we've authorized ourselves to have. And in fact, we are looking at, as we discussed at the last board meeting, we are looking at some short-term debt just to bridge over for stormwater and transportation while we look at the larger funding sources for those facilities. The issue really is that you don't build capital facilities in small increments. When you build a jail, you build a whole jail. Or if you build a water plant, you build a whole water plant. And we have a significant amount of debt that we are working with here to do with the Northeast expansion. Oh, here comes Chris, which I'm sure he will be able to add to this. But again, this is a tool that we use to be able to timely deliver capital projects largely because it makes the most sense for our business model. And with that, I'm sure that Chris can add to that. And here comes Mr. Deloney as well.
Thank you, Ms. Patterson. For the record, Christopher Johnson, sorry, I ran up the stairs. I'm a little winded. Your Director of Corporate Financial and Management Services. Yes, to add to what Ms. Patterson had stated, we are a little bit over $700 million in debt. Again, that debt is general governmental. Jim's probably coming up behind me. Utility as well. And over the past 10 years, we've actually worked on refinancing a lot of that debt to the tune of $531 million. Average annual debt reduction is about $3.2 million, which we're reinvesting into our capital programs on a pay-as-you-go basis.
The reason I asked the question, I just want to make sure that the public understands we're not in a debt crisis of any kind. We've managed our debt, and we know what our limitations are. Yes, sir.
For the record, Jim Deloney, Public Utilities. Sir, I think the best indicator of our debt versus our capacity is our bond rating. We're AAA, which is the highest rating you can receive. Municipalities around the country would die to have that rating, with the kinds of efforts that goes into maintaining that. Derek's here from the clerk's office can back me up on the efforts that are done not only on behalf of the utility, but on behalf of the county in terms of managing our debt smartly and wisely, timing our debt load either short-term, long-term in terms of the market conditions. So I think we should be very proud that we're able to manage our debt the way we do. Regrettably, we have debt, municipalities, utilities in particular. As the county manager said, we don't buy partial, we buy whole. And to have that kind of money in hand is much like buying cash for your home. You rarely have that kind of money, so you mortgage your home, and we mortgage our water plants and our wastewater plants and a lot of our system, so we can have the whole system, and then through our rate cases and our impact fees, we retire that cost. I hope I've provided some background to where we are, at least from the utilities perspective. Derek, did I leave anything out?
Okay. Commissioner LaCastro.
I don't know if he was going to say something.
Yes, sir.
No, were you finished? Or
yeah, I'm through.
I have a totally different question that has nothing to do with
good.
you.
Oh, okay. So we're finished with the debt issue. I just wanted to make sure that the public understood that we understand the load that debt carries for us, but we're very conservative about how we borrow.
And if there's one thing I could clarify, Commissioner, I apologize. The total debt is about $550 million in principal right now. We also have those additional commercial paper lines of credit which have not been drawn upon currently.
Commissioner Hall.
Thank you. I think the comment from Mr. Zagaric was not our ability to borrow or our ability to manage the debt that we have. We do a good job of managing what we have. I think his point was it wouldn't hurt us to have a conversation as to the debt that we do carry, what's necessary, what can be paid off, how we can reduce that amount. And I think that's a valid point that he made.
Sure, absolutely.
Commissioners, if I may, we will actually go over this as part of the AUIR, which you'll be seeing after the first of the year. So we'll be sure to highlight that so that the interested public will be able to get a view into that and what it looks like in the 5 years.
All right. Commissioner Castro, you had another subject?
I do. I think it also had merit. The gentleman that came up and spoke about the vehicles. Last time I talked with Amy, which was recently, I said, I think it's about time to hear from Resource X again. The last few times we've heard from them, they've given us an overview of sort of, the shoe leather they've been burning in the county building, which has been extremely valuable. But now the next level would be actual decisions on our our side. I can't speak for individual vehicles, but the topic does have merit because there's counties all over Florida that bought cyber trucks and are driving Ferraris and Corvettes. And now some of that comes back in the news and says, well, they got that from a drug dealer. They got it back. They put it back out on the street. So, we might be talking apples and chairs. But I just think the overall assessment, when Resource X does a deep dive into transportation and things like that, I agree. We had the same issue on Marco Island where they were using multi-million-dollar ladder trucks, to drive down the street and respond to something that should have taken a much smaller vehicle. In their defense, they were like, well, we got to put miles on the vehicles. But I think, that's not what you were saying. You brought up a valid point. And if really we could take a look at our vehicle maintenance fleet, and there is some savings, which is the whole reason we've energized Resource X to basically say, you have a fleet of vehicles over here that do the job great. But if you want to sort of wean them out of the inventory and get things that are easier to maintain and whatnot. So I don't need anybody to speak or say anything. I throw that out there as I appreciate your comment because I think it's extremely valid that we use the right vehicles for the right things. Now, if they're being used for multi-purpose things, maybe they are doing a code enforcement thing, but that's the same vehicle that then does something where it's actually needed and it's dual purpose. I think that's just what we want to hear because there could be a lot of savings there over time in gas and fuel and maintenance and purchasing. So I appreciated your comment.
All right, Ms. Patterson, we'll move on.
Yes, sir. That brings us to item 11, as all of our land use under item 9 has been continued to future meetings. So that brings us to item 11A. This is a recommendation to approve the award of invitation to bid number 25-8396 Everglades Boulevard North Shoulder Improvements to General Asphalt Company, LLC, in the amount of $6,792,335.78. Approve an owner's allowance of $100,000, authorize any necessary budget amendments, and authorize the chair to sign the attached agreement. Mr. J. Ahmad, your Division Director of Transportation Engineering, is here to present or answer questions.
Good morning. For the record, J. Ahmad, your Transportation Engineering Director. I have a presentation I can present, or if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Let's see if there are any questions from the commission. I don't see anybody lit up here. Then I think we may be ready for a motion unless there's someone registered to speak on it.
I'll make a motion to approve.
All right, we have a motion to approve.
I'll second.
And a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed, that passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir, Commissioner Hall.
I do want to mention to the public, when they hear this, that, we don't hear the presentation and there's amount of money to spend. We've all been briefed very thorough on this item, and the only reason it's coming up forth this morning in the agenda is the amount of money. It's above and beyond the administrative allowance to go ahead and approve. So that's why it's here before us. But I don't want you to think that we're not taking this seriously and that we're just kind of blowing it off and spending $6.8 million just willy-nilly. We've been very well briefed, and we're all aware of where the money's going and why the money's going.
Ms. Patterson, we'll move on to item 11B.
Yes, sir. This is a recommendation to award invitation to bid number 25-8367 Stan Gober Memorial Bridge Rehabilitation to M&J Construction Company of Pinellas County, Inc. in the amount of $8,937,871.54. Approve the owner's allowance of $900,000 and authorize the chair to sign the attached agreement. Again, Mr. J. Ahmad, your Division Director for Transportation Engineering, is here to present, and similarly, this item is on the regular agenda due to the dollar amount.
Anyone registered to speak on this? Any questions or comments from the board?
Jay, you and I talked about this one in great detail. Just give the short version. This is a big amount of money, but this is part of our construction, repair. Our bridges are extremely important. So I think it's important just to get it on the record. Maybe some people that aren't as familiar with the bridges that lead into Marco and Goodland. And so I think your presentation is important, but maybe you give the abridged version.
Yes, sir. Good morning. Jay Ahmad, your Director of Transportation Engineering. For the record, I'll be very brief. What you're seeing here is the location of the bridge, Collier County Route 92, also known as San Marco. It's the second bridge to access and have access during hurricanes for public to exit and enter the island of Marco. The bridge is in need of repair, and this item is actually doing that. We get reports from the state of Connecticut, FDOT, on the conditions of the report biannual, and the state identified issues with the bridge, and that is what we're doing. We're attending to those issues that were identified in the inspection report. And briefly, the project will repair the deck and main beams of the bridge. The project also will repair the piers. There's some damage to the piers, and replace those damaged bearing plates that supports the beams. Also the cathodic protection, which is basically anything under the water. There's a zinc type of padding that gets onto the piers to protect the steel reinforcement in the piers from rusting and further deterioration, and we're also repairing those. Scour, which is essentially the material that kind of erode for the foundations underneath. The inspection reports due to the hurricanes identified few piers and foundations that had lost some material. And we would put riprap and material to protect the foundations from further erosion and compromise the bridge. And we are going to be in construction for about 12 months, and we got good bids. I think this is a great item to address the needs of this old bridge, if you will, and expand the lifespan of this.
I just wanted to add to the public that might be listening to this, the bridge is safe, but we're being extremely proactive. We don't want to wait till a bridge is at the point where we're being told it needs significant construction. And I know that you and your team, Trinity, has done a great job patching it during storms and when we've had damage to the surface of the bridge and everything. So I was very impressed with the presentation I got from you all, how we're being very proactive, staying ahead of things, and keeping this bridge well maintained. But it's safe across the board. We've got no report saying you better get out there and do the things, but it's at the point where we want to be proactive to do it, and I appreciate all the efforts that you've put into it, Jay, and to your team.
Yes, absolutely. The bridge is safe, and this will continue to make it safer and also expand its lifespan with routine maintenance, and this is what this is.
Commissioner Kowal.
Thank you, Chairman. I would just like to give Jay the opportunity to clarify his statement. He may have referred back to a previous life. He said the state of Connecticut.
It's Florida.
There you go. All right, I just want to make sure we weren't taking orders from Connecticut.
I've been out of that for roughly 36 years. But I worked with a consultant for many years in Connecticut, and it's a
I got you.
thing
I
to
knew
get
what
out
you
of my
meant. I
mind
just want
soon.
for the record. Let people know that
Maybe
we
I'll
don't take
retire
orders
before
from
I get it
Connecticut.
out of my.
All right. Thank you.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, that passed unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioners, that brings us to item 11C. This is a recommendation to authorize the purchase of 4 properties on Bay Street in the amount of $1,500,000 from Hamilton Harbor LLC and the award of community development block grant funds to the Bayshore Gateway Triangle Community Redevelopment Area. Mr. John Dunnick, your Executive Director of Facilities and Redevelopment, is here to present or answer questions.
Good morning. Why don't you give us a little bit of an update? I know this is a project that you've been working on for quite some time, and we heard some things with this just a few weeks ago. But
sure, yes,
update.
this is probably 28 years in the making. When all of a sudden done, this is the continuation of the board direction from the July meeting to acquire additional properties outside of Bayview Park to expand the park long term. Last meeting, we brought you 3 parcels for acquisition on Danford Street. This is the second companion developer on Bay Street that has 4 parcels. 3 are unimproved, 1 is improved at a cost of $1.5 million. It's 9% above the appraised value, so it'll require supermajority vote, but it is actually below the taxable value of what the property appraiser assesses the property for. The reason why we are 9% above is because they have done improvements on the property. They have added fill on one of the properties, and obviously they're going through planning and zoning, and we wanted to make sure that we compensated the developer accordingly, because this has been a project where we said we've tried to make everybody whole as we move forward in a reasonable manner and fashion. We're using CDBG grant funds to purchase this property up to appraised value, and then we'll use additional funds beyond that. I will say, as a sticking point, there's just a little bit of a risk that we have with the CDBG funds because we have not been able to get a hold of the HUD to confirm certain things because of the government shutdown. Typically, when you buy appraised value, there's another process we go through, so we're taking a limited amount of risk there. But we've identified backup funds should we not be able to get the grant funding down the road. But I feel very confident we're going to be able to get that done. We have a review appraisal that actually supports up to $1.5 million as well from our real property staff. So we're recommending moving forward with this project. And I plan on bringing another property acquisition to you at the next board meeting.
All right. Any registered speakers? All right. Any questions, comments from the board?
Make a motion.
We have a motion to approve.
Second.
And a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, that passed unanimously.
Aye. Aye.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
I am the burrito bandito.
Commissioners, that brings us to item 11D. This is a recommendation to award invitation to bid number 25-8351, CCSO Marco Substation Building Replacement to Build LLC in the amount of $5,345,065. Approve an owner's allowance of $350,000 for potential unforeseen conditions. Authorize the chair to sign the attached agreement, and authorize a budget amendment in the amount of $6,245,065 within the disaster fund. Mr. Brian Deloney, your Division Director of Facilities Management, is here to present or answer questions. Again, this item appears at this place on the agenda due to the dollar amount.
Any questions or comments from the commission? Do we need a presentation, or is everybody satisfied with what we've been told? Then we are looking for a motion.
So moved.
All right, we have a motion, and I'll second it. We have a motion and a second to approve. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Commissioner McDaniel?
Aye.
Passes unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Commissioners, we are set for a 10 o'clock time certain for item 11E. We could jump to staff communications and commission communications and then make that the last item if it pleases the board.
What about 11F?
Oh, I forgot 11F. You're right.
Yes.
Never
All right.
mind. Sorry, Commissioner.
That's okay.
Item 11F. This is formerly 16A8. This is a recommendation to approve the release of a code enforcement lien with an accrued value of $118,600 for a reduced payment of $76,787.80 in the code enforcement action titled Board of County Commissioners versus Four Amigos 3 LLC in Code Enforcement Board Case Number CESD 20210001477 relating to property located at 544 Commercial Boulevard, Collier County, Florida. This item was moved at Commissioner Cowell's request.
Commissioner Cowell.
Thank you, Chairman. I was contacted by Mr. Lombardo, who represents the individuals, constituents, the Four Amigos, and he brought to light some things. And I know we've heard these before in the past, where we've listened to people that wanted to try to reduce whatever the settlement would be. And I know that that 10% of property value is what we go up to set a reduction, but it doesn't mean we can't go below that sometimes in certain circumstances. And in the past, we have things where people have had violations and they just ignore them, and in reality, a violation might be a few $1,000 fix, but 10, 15 years later, looking at hundreds of $1,000s worth of fines. And I looked at that, but then when I looked at this particular situation, I mean, at the end of the day, these people put $76,125 in the repairs. So these weren't like something you could just go get somebody and say, all right, let me have a $2,000 fix, and then you're up to code and move on. When you're required to come out of your own pocket to even get the repairs to that point, maybe it needs to take a deeper dive. And that's why I brought it forth, to have the board members to look at it, let them explain, why they asked me to take a deeper dive. So if it'll be okay if Mr. Lombard, I don't know how you want to do this, but
sure.
Thank you, Mr. Lombardo.
Good morning, Commissioners. Thank you very much, and I appreciate this item being pulled. What my clients are requesting here is not that their fines be wiped out, but they be reduced to $42,474.75. That is below the 10% of appraised value, which is in approximately $75,000 range. The reason why I brought this forward is I looked at the resolution that you all have on this matter, 2023-90, and I looked at section 4, and I have copies of this if it would be helpful. But in that section, it says, if a recommendation is for approval, the lien shall be reduced to a sum not to exceed 10%. In working with staff, it seemed that staff was interpreting this to mean if you provide us documentation, we reduce it to 10%. And we don't do anything further than that. And if we have issue with that, we come to you and ask. And so that's what I'm doing. We provided documentation in the application that showed that the client essentially spent $75,000 or so repairing the issue. And this particular issue, as I indicated in the sworn statement that accompanies the application from the client, this was not in many commercial buildings, there's a tenant who creates the problem. The landlord then has the added challenge of figuring out what was the problem. So there was an identification problem and then a solving issue, and it took a considerable amount of time. Otherwise, there wouldn't be a $100,000 fine on this file. And so since every single dollar has been spent by the defendant, we're requesting that the fine be reduced to $42,474.75. And then separately, what I'm requesting is that clarification be provided about this resolution, because if it was meant by you all that they provide the application and then they just go to 10, I would suggest that this resolution needs to be amended to manage everyone's expectations about what's supposed to happen here.
Right. Any comments from staff in reference to that?
Good morning, Commissioners. For the record, Timothy Krotz, Assistant Division Director, Collier County Code Enforcement. This case started in 2021 as a code case with work that was done that was unpermitted. During the course of time, this case wound up going in front of the Code Enforcement Board. There were multiple extensions that were granted by the Code Enforcement Board. On 4/27 of 23, the extension of time was denied, and at the board hearing, fines were starting to accrue. Based upon that information at time, fines did accrue up to $118,600 for a period of over 500 days. As your policy dictates, the code enforcement lien can be up to 10%, and that is the policy that code enforcement followed to come up with the sum of $76,787.80.
Commissioner Castro.
Thank you, Chairman. I was a big proponent of making sure that the county stopped being Santa Claus and taking $200,000 fines and making them zero because somebody decided finally after a long period of time to come with, work within code and meet the requirement. What I want to hear here is I was satisfied after getting the briefing in my office that going from 118,000 to 76 was a reduction for all the right reasons. I would need to hear some extenuating circumstances from the staff that the staff believed had merit to drop below 76, or I wouldn't support it. So I realize the applicant has, their story, and I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but, as we talked in my office, and I talked mostly with Mr. French and maybe the other commissioners did, I like that we're not going to zero anymore just because somebody told a story, but are there significant extenuating circumstances here? I mean, when people have a significant amount of time to come within compliance and they don't, I just get worried about precedents that every time there's something small or somebody takes the time to come to the podium, then the next person that's going to come in here that had a $100,000 fine and wants it to be greatly reduced outside of the parameters of what we set, all have a similar type of story. And in the end, this is taxpayer dollars. This is money that, is owed to the taxpayers because somebody either broke the law or didn't work within code. So is there something you can tell me that's going to get my vote to agree to the lesser fee than $76,000?
There's not, Commissioner. With this here, obviously we understand that the respondent did have to spend a lot of money to get things brought up to code to get it where it should have been before it was changed.
$76,125.
Yes. So, but code, we follow the policy of the Board of Commissioners, and we set it at the 10%. There is nothing that we can come up other than the amount of money that was spent by the respondent.
Commissioner Hall.
Thank you, Chairman. What's the backstory? You said that the original code violation was done for work without a permit. Was that done by the tenant without the owner's knowledge, or what's the full backstory?
That is correct, Commissioner. This was done by a tenant. This was changes to the building without a permit. As they went through the process to get the permit, like I said, this occurred. The case was opened in 2021. It took time to go through. Even when the permit was started, which was back in 22, there were 27 corrections that had to be done, shown by the building department, FEMA, and fire. So it took a while for those to get done. Again, however, it is the tenant or the owner's responsibility to correct anything that the tenant does outside of the building code or the code itself with Collier County Code Enforcement.
Thank you. At any point, was the owner of the building non-responsive or uncooperative, or did he do what he was supposed to do in a timely manner and work with staff?
I can't speak for being uncooperative. I don't have any information on that, but however, I do have here that there were 4 extensions of time granted from started in 2022, and the last extension that was denied was in 23. So the reasons for the request, I'm not sure of, but it was a lot of time that was given to the owner of the building to get it corrected. And at this final time, when the board started to imposing the fines of $200 a day till the time it was corrected, which occurred, it started, the fines accrued through 4/27 of 23 through the date of compliance of 12/9 of 24. And that's where the $118,600 came into play.
Well,
thank you.
What were some of the deficiencies that had to be repaired? What are we talking about?
Through the structural review, there were 11 structural review issues that needed to be addressed. In fire review, there were 7. With electrical, there was 1. Mechanical, there were 3. In plumbing, there were 3. FEMA, there were 2. So there was a lot of issues that came in through when the permit was submitted along with plans. When it went through the review process, these were the conditions, these were the issues that were brought up and would be sent to the owner that he would have to address with his contractor.
Just one quick question, Commissioner Cole, if you don't mind. Were these health safety issues, or because I understand there was mechanical and all that, but were we talking about anything that was a threat to public health or safety?
So, excuse me, Commissioner, for the record, Jamie French, Department of Growth Management. This is a response to illegal construction that occurred. This was not a building that was in need of repairs. So the deficiencies was with the construction that occurred, and then it would have been the plans that would have been submitted. They would not have adhered to the Florida Building Code or the Florida Fire Prevention Code.
Okay. Commissioner Caldwell.
Thank you, Chairman. Just to kind of, I guess, set a little timeline, just because I know Commissioner Hall had mentioned a particular timeline. I don't know if you could put this up on there. This kind of shows the they started the construction repairs in 22, pretty much right after this all went before the county, and you can see as they were working along the way and how it accrued. So it wasn't like they just one day finally says, threw their hands up in the air and says, all right, I'm going to pay somebody $76,000 to fix this. All along the way, since 3/29/22, they were working on the problem, paying money out, getting the things corrected, up until it accrued to $76,125,000, which they're not saying they want a zero. They're willing to pay $42,474.25 or whatever it comes to, which out of pocket that comes to $118,599.5. Out of the pocket of the owner that his tenant caused this problem. So that's what I'm just trying to say. We've heard these before. I've seen where we've just let people walk away with just their filing fee of $2,600. I'm not saying, but I've seen that before. So I just thought this was a unique case. Get your perspective. That's why I brought it forward. So.
All right, Commissioner Hall. Then I think we're probably ready for a
Yes.
motion.
I just want to say, as a former landlord myself, there are things that go on that there's no way you know until you know. And it looks to me like the guy tried his best to cooperate and to start making repairs, which they had to be aggravating at the least for him. So I'll make a motion to approve the reduced fee of the $42-something thousand. I don't think $30-something thousand is going to make or break us, but at the same time, it shows a fairness to the guy that was trying to do what was right, even though it is his responsibility, no doubt about it. But with the repairs that he made, plus the additional $42,000, he still gets it stuck to him pretty good.
And I agree with that. Can you state the number for the record? I got $42,474.75.
$42,474.75.
All right. We have a motion.
A second.
All right. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, that passed unanimously.
Opposed.
Oh, I'm sorry. Passes 4-1.
Did we hear from Bill?
Yes, I said, I supported the motion.
Yep. All right, so we're ready for our 10 o'clock time certain.
Yes, sir. That brings us to item 11E. This is a recommendation to approve and authorize the chair to execute an economic development agreement with Project Bones in the amount of $6 million. Mr. Cormac Giblin, your Division Director for Economic Development and Housing, is here to present. We also have Mr. Jovanovic, who will be participating by Zoom. He is trapped in Philadelphia.
It sounds like a movie.
Good morning.
Trapped in Philadelphia.
Good morning, Commissioners. Again, for the record, Cormac Giblin, your Economic Development and Housing Director. I'm going to brief the project, turn it over to...
Hang on one second. Mr. Jovanovic, can you hear us?
I can. Can you hear me?
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm sorry.
I'll give you a brief summary of the proposed project and the agreement, then turn over to Mr. Jovanovic to walk through a little bit more detail and introduce his team here that's in the room. And Troy. This is to approve an economic development agreement with Project Bones. Project Bones is a code name. This project was granted confidentiality through the Florida statutes when dealing with economic development incentives. Now that the project is in the public, it is with the Bay College of Osteopathic Medicine based in Tampa to build a sister school to complement its recently completed Orlando College of Osteopathic Medicine. The projected cost to construct the school is a $170 million investment. They're proposing a 108,000 square foot facility that will accommodate 400 students on campus, that will graduate about 180 medical students each year and starting in 2029. The project is set to employ approximately 325 construction workers and create over 100 high wage paying target industry jobs. Additionally, as part of this agreement, Bay College has agreed to offer at least 20 scholarships to Collier County residents. The overall economic impact to Collier County through this agreement is over $2 billion, or close to $2 billion over the next 20 years. Our proposed economic development agreement is to provide $6 million to the Bay College to build here in Collier County. That'll be divided up into a $1 million payment at the issuance of the CO, and then 10 equal $500,000 payments upon the anniversary of each 1 year of operation. The $6 million represents 3.5% of the total project cost, and the projected return on investment to the county is positive all the way through the life cycle of the project. The payments will be made upon verification of the CO and current, making sure that they're current on business tax receipts and property taxes. Another condition in the agreement is that Bay College shall not convert, reorganize, or otherwise become a nonprofit or tax-exempt entity until they've paid at least $6 million back in ad valorem tax revenue. As I mentioned, they have a sister school that they recently opened last year in Orlando. It is the Orlando College of Osteopathic Medicine. That's a 144,000 square foot facility. They have 145 student graduating class, and they opened in the fall of 2024. These are real pictures of that facility up in Orlando. You can see the type of architecture and construction that they brought to that area. The site that they're focusing on here in Collier County is in the Hacienda Lakes MPUD. It's a little over 5 acres near the corner of Hacienda Lakes Boulevard and Collier Boulevard. The proposed site plan sites the building towards the front of the site along Rattlesnake Hammock Boulevard, and has staff parking in the front with parking for the students in the rear. Here are some proposed renderings of what the site may look like on that property. And our recommendation is that you would approve the economic development agreement with Bay College Osteopathic Medicine LLC in the amount of $6 million. And with that, I'll either answer questions or turn it over to Mr. Jovanovic to further introduce the project and go through his brief presentation.
I have a question for our staff. In terms of the zoning, is the zoning in place?
This is a shovel-ready site, Commissioner. They've already had a pre-application for their site plan. It's ready to go.
Do we have some more presentation
We
from
have
the?
Mr. Jovanovic will.
Yes, I appreciate your accommodating me. I got to experience the government shutdown firsthand yesterday with no traffic controllers at the.
Are you on a plane, train, or an automobile?
What's that?
Are you on a plane, train, or automobile? It sounds like the movie.
I was trying to get there by plane, but I'm back here in Doylestown, Pennsylvania. Cormac did an excellent job doing basically our presentation for us. With me today is Dr. Hasty, who's the dean of the Orlando School, Phil Zavari, and Matt Holliday, who I'm sure you're familiar with Matt. As the Commissioner LeCastro knows, and this has been a school that's been trying to locate here in Collier County. They've gone through many, many sites, want to be open in December. They want to be open for students in 2028, so it's on an expedited time frame. We did find a location that is shovel ready. What we thought we would do is provide a little, we'd have Dr. Hasty kind of take you through how the medical school will operate, since he is responsible for opening the school and running the school in Orlando. We're looking forward to bringing this project to Collier County. As you can see, NCH is an integral partner in this, with Mr. Holliday being present. So we're just going to do a brief overview of the school itself, and then open up to any questions that you may have with regard to the proposed grant. And we thank you.
All right. Good morning.
Great. Well, thank you, Rich, and thank you, commissioners. It's a pleasure and honor to speak with you today, and thank you for considering what I think will be a major impact for Collier County and Southwest Florida. As Rich mentioned, my name is Dr. Robert Hasty. I'm the Dean and the Chief Academic Officer for OCOM, the Orlando College of Orlando College of Osteopathic Medicine. We are part of the Drs. Kiran and Pallavi Patel Global University, which was the last medical school funded by Dr. Kiran Patel, who's the largest philanthropist to higher education in the history of the state of Florida. And this is an amazing project. We're partnering up with NCH on this project. The physician shortage for Southwest Florida is significant now, and it will be for the next foreseeable future. And so with this endeavor, NCH the medical school will bear the name of NCH for it. We will start this medical school in the fall of 2028, assuming, full approval and accreditation and everything goes well with this proposed College of Osteopathic Medicine. We will plan to graduate our first class in the year of 2032. And through this endeavor, it's going to have about a $1.7 billion economic impact conservatively to the Collier County and surrounding areas. And so, and of course, the physicians that we're going to train we're going to focus on trying to get a lot of local kids opportunities to go to medical school. We want to create world-class training. Hopefully they'll all stay for training here in Southwest Florida, particularly the NCH, and hopefully they'll all come and practice in the years ahead. So that's the overall view. The timeline, we plan on starting construction in the spring of 2026. We, from an accreditation standpoint, we're actually required to have the building complete in December, by December 31st, 2027, and we'll inaugurate, or our inaugural class will begin instruction in the fall of 2028 with graduation in 2032. As I mentioned, it's a $1.7 billion economic impact. Pretty significant income for the employees. I think the average income is roughly around $100,000 per employee. That's counting both staff and faculty. And as you've seen, it's going to be a beautiful medical school. This is the economic impact, sort of the granularity of some of those details. And I'll turn it over to Phil Zaveri with the Patel Family Office to talk a little bit about the facility they're looking at.
All right, we have a couple of commissioners lit up. Is it okay to finish the presentation first? All right.
Yeah. And so Cormac actually showed some of the renderings earlier. So, this will be a 110,000 square foot facility, state-of-the-art auditoriums. Wellness is a big aspect to this. What we did at Orlando College of Osteopathic Medicine, a lot of natural light, focused on student centers, study rooms, libraries, classrooms, state-of-the-art anatomy labs, osteopathic manipulative medicine labs. So it'll be a full-service medical school servicing about 400 actual students on campus and then 400 students off campus. And so I'll show you a couple more renderings here. And here's the site plan. And then I guess we'll just open up to questions.
All right. Does that conclude your presentation?
Good morning, Matt Holliday for the record. On behalf of our president, Paul Hiltz, and the board of trustees for NCH, this is obviously a project we're very excited about. I can tell you that our leadership spends a tremendous amount of time in the air, just like Mr. Jovanovich would like to be doing right now, flying around recruiting physicians and other practitioners. Having this medical school in Collier County will provide that point of reference. If you think about to our veterans from World War II, as we approach Veterans Day, a lot of those folks, that when they finished their training in Florida, went off and fought for our country. They came back here because they remembered this beautiful area, right? So we know these physicians, when they get trained here, they're very likely to come back here. NCH is partnering with the best in the world right now, with HSS at NCH for your orthopedics. You have Northwestern for our cancer treatment, Nicholas Children's for our women and children's services. This is another of the best. They've done this before. They know what they're doing. They've proven it. And we're very excited to see this project come forward. So thank you very much for your support.
Thank you. Commissioner Castro.
I think if Commissioner Hall was, or whoever was lit first, I'll let them go before me. I thought I would close it up.
Thank you, Chairman. And I just have three questions. What is the funding source for our $6 million?
Currently, absent identifying other funding sources, it would be general fund or other available general revenue. We do have an economic development cost center where we budget for this type of incentive. It's similar to how we budget for some of our job programs, capital investment programs, and the like.
So we have it, but we don't have it, and we're going to try to find it, and we'll probably have it.
There should not be an issue having it due to the timing. So if the board approves this agreement, we'll start to appropriate that money into that project starting this upcoming fiscal year.
Okay, thank you. And then second question, has there been any consideration for providing housing for students as they come?
There certainly has. In our Orlando plan, we have actually built some housing next door to our medical school there. Given the constraints on land here in Collier County, we are talking to the developer who owns the site directly next door, and we're trying to work out something to where there will be some housing, but it's not a for certain, thing at this point.
Yeah, I just bring it up because you're partnering with people that are providing their own housing for their employees, and I just didn't know if that was going to be a possibility moving forward.
It will be, as NCH looks forward to hopefully bringing our own housing online at the Business Center office on Immokalee Road. I'm sure that'll be part of the discussion.
Good. I think it's a discussion worth having. Thanks, Matt. And then lastly, how critical is this $6 million from us? How much does this project hinge on that $6 million?
It's a great question. Our intention and our goal is to be here in Collier County. To Rich's point, we've probably looked at about 8 other sites, and to find one that is shovel ready in Collier County that can meet the 28 first class, it was a little bit of an expensive endeavor from a land standpoint. So our goal is to be here regardless, but the incentive definitely helps move this forward. Absolutely.
All right, thanks.
Commissioner Castro.
Thank you, Chairman. I was just going to say some people might be hearing this for the first time, but I've spoken to this group quite a bit. And actually, the CEO of NCH, Paul Hiltz, brought this up a long time ago as an idea, and now we see it coming to fruition. So I just want to make a few points. Obviously, I'm a huge supporter of this. It's in my district. We took a little bit of a deeper dive because I asked the same question about housing, and you're in the epicenter of where there's apartments and housing and things being built. So I have no doubt that we can all be instrumental in having those conversations if this moves forward. But besides, and we also got a letter from Physicians Regional Healthcare System from their CEO, Scott Lowe, a couple days ago, mirroring the same support as Paul Hiltz, and I would expect Arthrex is very excited about it. I'll build on a little bit of what you sort of summarized, maybe smaller. You have looked at a lot of other locations, and one of the reasons why this location, I believe we all agree, is a huge positive, is not just that these doctors might come back here 30 years later, but I think we're all in agreement that some of the other locations that you're looking at, once these students graduate, they're not going to remain there. There aren't the kind of hospitals, there isn't the kind of medical centers that we have here and other types of opportunities, so they're going to bolt immediately. So I think the possibility, or the great possibility of them staying here immediately after graduation and doing internships and working for private physicians or in our hospitals is huge compared to some of those places out in the boondocks where you might get land a little bit cheaper, but it's not going to do as much, for the community. So the impact and the cohesion is amazing. But when it comes to the money, I don't even sniffle at it because we sat here in 30 seconds and we gave Great Wolf Lodge $17 million in one check. I know that Cormac sort of summarized this a bit, but this is spread out over a significant amount of time. The impact is in the billions of dollars, same sort of thing. And we're not talking about bringing another resort here. We're talking about bringing the one and only medical school that Collier County would have should it come to fruition. So I don't think this is apples to apples. I think this is apples to solid gold. And I really applaud all the homework that you all have done. So I'm a huge supporter of it. And I think some of the other things we talked about to make this even a better deal for our community and make it work properly is not that difficult. So I make a motion to approve.
Mr. Miller, do we have any registered speakers? All right, we have no registered speakers. We have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
I'll second the motion.
All right, we have a motion to second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? And Commissioner McDaniel, did you?
It was an approval, aye.
I believe that's a unanimous vote. So. Thank you.
Correct.
And Mr. Yovanovich, when you get back, tell us how the wars go in Philadelphia, how the travel wars go.
Thanks.
That's assuming you get back.
I'm not sure. I hope to get back at some point. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Ms. Patterson, I think we can conclude our agenda without taking a break, if it's okay with the
Yes,
recorder.
sir.
All right, so let's move on then.
Commissioners, that brings us to item 15, staff and commission general communications. Item 15A is public comments on general topics not on the current or future agenda by individuals not already heard during previous public comments in this meeting.
We have none.
All right.
Item 15B is staff project updates. We do not have any today. That brings us to item 15C, staff and commission general communications. I'd just like to extend our appreciation to our veterans on this day before Veterans Day and their commitment to our nation and their sacrifice. So happy Veterans Day. It's okay to say that, Commissioner LaCastro?
It is.
Not like Memorial Day.
Yep.
And also happy Thanksgiving, since we won't be seeing you. I'll probably see some of you at the Farm City Barbecue, but otherwise have a wonderful holiday. County Attorney.
Same.
Commissioner Colwell.
Thank you, Chairman. I'd like to also tell everybody Happy Veterans Day tomorrow. My fellow veteran up here on the board, Happy Veterans Day, Commissioner. Everybody knows the difference between Veterans Day and Memorial Day, so I won't go through that. But I think most of us got this letter. I don't know if we have, everybody did, because it was addressed to all the commissioners. But I don't know if you're familiar with this individual brought this to our attention. I think this is in your district, Commissioner Saunders, reference to the Prince Andrew Drive in that community. I did some research. That's the only Prince Andrew is actually the gentleman that the family has just
This
denounced.
ends today.
Congressman Barnes, wow. You know, I never really thought you'd have a promising political.
I don't know if this is a private road or what. I think a little bit more research needs to be looked into it. Because if it's private, you can take it on their own to deal with that. But if it is a public road, maybe we need to take a deeper dive and find out how exactly, and if whatever the process it might take. Because from what I understand, I just did a quick research when I got the letter, just to see if maybe there's another Prince Andrew out there, or a distant uncle or something this was actually named after. But no, he is the only Prince Andrew.
The one.
The only one. And because I noticed all the streets in there are named after one's like Churchill, Parliament, so they are all English related historical streets. So might want to take a deeper dive into that.
I did respond back to the constituent that sent this email and told them that we would look into it and then follow up with what the next steps would be.
All right, I just figured I'd bring it
Right.
here up. Other than that, I won't see you guys for Thanksgiving probably. Wish everybody safe, happy holidays.
Commissioner Hall. Thank you, Chairman. I would like to also extend my condolences to all of the veterans. We honor you so much, especially my very favorite veteran, Colonel James A. Hall, my daddy. And I look forward to celebrating tomorrow at several different venues with all of those that are putting that on.
Commissioner LaCastro.
Obviously, I extend the same thanks and admiration to my colleague, Commissioner Cole, for serving in the Army, the second best service in the United States of America. But I also want to thank our county manager and John Mullins for the work that they did to get the museum moved from the airport over here, and that should be a great event for those that can attend it. I know that they're really worried for a while as they were getting squeezed, and we assured them we would do everything we could, and you guys really went above and beyond. It looks beautiful over there, and hope they get a good turnout tomorrow. But having said that, happy Veterans Day, and to all those veterans that are out there, and we certainly have a very patriotic community, and that's a great thing, a great place to live when you have that.
Commissioner McDaniel.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair, and I the same as already spoken. I want to wish everybody a happy Veterans Day. You can do Valentine's Day too.
Is it happy hour where you are right now?
No, not yet, sir, not yet. Ben, happy Thanksgiving, and I appreciate you accommodating me attending remotely today.
All right. I don't have anything to add other than I hope everyone has a safe Thanksgiving and the holidays, especially if you're traveling. Hopefully you won't wind up like Mr. Yovanovich did, stuck in Philadelphia. And hopefully everybody will be out recognizing Veterans Day tomorrow. With that, we are adjourned.
Wow.
Could it be a record?
I sat on tarmac yesterday in Orlando. 35-minute flight back to ATC. Thanks for considering.
We'll make it.